I'm at Middlesex Aerospace. I'm on the shop floor with Mark Cumberland from Matsuura, who successfully negotiated the sale of this MAM72-35V some months ago. We're going to find out about what the installation entails. Mark, I opened up this video by saying you successfully negotiated the sale of this machine, but you don't need to negotiate these days, do you, with the quality and the performance of a Matsuura?
I think Don would have a different view on that, but yeah, no, it's been a privilege to be able to supply this machine to Middlesex.
And this is their first one in here, isn't it? What do you think it was that really drove them to purchase it?
Well, to be fair, you know, we've been talking to the owners of Middlesex for quite a while. But really it was a certain set of circumstances where they had the right sort of work, the right size components, and really the right sort of volume, and they needed the flexibility that the MAM72-35V gives them.
Okay, so we're going to find out a little bit about that flexibility now and what this machine is. So Mark, for people that haven't seen, which I don't believe there'll be many, but people that haven't seen one of your machines on our videos before, what is this MAM72-35V?
Well, the MAM72-35V has been around a long time now, in its original guise, probably 32 years. And really, it's a machine that just opens up people's eyes to unmanned manufacturing. So the machine as we see it here, it's a 32 pallet, 5-axis machine, 15,000 RPM. Obviously we can have higher speeds as well, but this particular machine has 320 tool pockets.
That's a big factor, and we're going to see all of those as we tour this machine. That's what's going to happen in the next few minutes. Mark, this is the loading area, isn't it, to start with? So this is where the operator may spend, if you were running 24 hours a day, how long do you need a guy here for?
Well, obviously, depending on the workpiece and the type of work you're doing, the way I try to look at it is you need 4 hours manning for 24 hours production. Now, those 4 hours may be in one single lot, or they may be spread out throughout the day, but the whole idea is that you react to the machine when it needs you, rather than the man being available for the whole of the time that the machine's running. The man only really needs to go to the machine when he needs to do something.
Okay, now one of the things I always think with these machines and this technology is if you're running for that long, how do you maintain precision? So what would be the answer to that, Mark? Because this is it's a mechanical piece of equipment, it's going to be running long hours, generating lots of heat. How are you going to make the parts precise each time?
Well, it's quite a good question actually, and it was one that Middlesex put to us very early on, because what they wanted to do was actually take a turned component with lots of very tight bores, very tight limits, and actually look at milling the whole part complete, which is what we actually do now. So we've taken a part which typically needed a man to load it and to look after it throughout the day, and we now run the machine completely unmanned on a 24-hour basis. But within the machine we have functionality such as spare tool selection, tool load monitoring, we do broken tool detection as well, but also the software that goes with the machine is looking at the tools, the pallets and the schedule that's been adhered to the machine to keep it running for as many hours as it can, but also then give the operator the information that he needs to then react to it as and when it needs it.
Okay, so you heard that right. They're doing a part on here that they used to do on a lathe, so they're interpolating the OD and the IDs. What can you achieve in terms of concentricity, roundness on something like that?
Well, concentricity obviously very much down to what the drawing depicts. In this case, it's less than 10 microns, but you know, typically this machine will interpolate within 1.7 microns all day long.
Wow. Okay, right. What I want to do is we're going to have a walk around the back of the machine. So we're going to look at not just the machining area, but what goes into the makeup of this Matsuura. Let's go. Now, it's important to say at this point we're unable to get some of the parts on camera because of the sensitivity of them. But what we can see is almost like the remnant, what is being made on this machine, isn't it? There's a lot of swarf coming off here, Mark.
Yes, the machine is a very hungry animal to feed. You know, we tell all of our customers that they do produce an awful lot of swarf.
So how do you manage things like that? Because it's one thing making the part and keeping that running for 168 hours a week, as Laurie told me, but everything coming backwards has got to work towards solving that too.
It has.
That's what we have here.
I'm 100% confident that a Matsuura will run 24/7. Yeah, and it's all of the ancillary equipment that goes with it that helps it do that. On this machine we have a 1200 litre coolant system with auto drum filtration. We have separate clean tanks, super clean tank, and we only ever supply coolant to the through spindle from a super clean tank. So we clean the coolant going to the super clean tank rather than going to the machine, so we never ever then end up with any blocked filters in line back to the spindle.
This is a really important part of production, isn't it? And often overlooked when buying a machine. People think if they can keep that spindle going, that's where it ends, but it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's the misconception. You know, you can have a 5-axis machine, you can put a big tool magazine on it, you can put a robot to feed it, but the problem is, if you can't get the swarf out of it reliably and keep it coming out of the machine reliably, the machine will stop.
So what have we? Obviously, this is a swarf conveyor, swarf bin. What have you got to just behind you here? What is this?
So just behind me on the right, this is the super clean tank. So we pump from the clean side of the auto drum filtration. We pump through the 2 canister filters that we see here, and that then obviously goes through into the tank. And it's this tank here which has the coolant which is clean enough to then supply back to the machine through the spindle only.
And all of this is supplied by you at Matsuura. Everything they've purchased here has been part of the package.
Yes, the swarf system's designed for us, by us as well, so we know it works.
Okay, the only other thing that always goes in my mind is not just about swarf giving you an issue, but if you haven't got enough tools. So let's go and look at the tool changer.
Okay.
So remind me, how many tools are on this machine then, Mark? Or did they select as an option?
Well, what we do is we have an expandable tool magazine on the Matsuura, okay? So the way that it arrives from Japan is that we have a base which can take 320 tool pockets, but in most cases it's filled with racks for 120. The customer can then increase them in lots of 40 up to the maximum capacity. But Middlesex bought theirs full up from day one.
Okay, now, are they going to need that quantity of tools? When would you need that amount of tools? Can't tools these days do multiple operations?
Well, they can, but obviously it depends on materials, yeah. You know, you might have a different 10mm end mill for cutting stainless or steels as opposed to cutting aluminium. So, you know, you can soon fill up a tool magazine. With 120, you can easily fill it up with a few jobs. But when you get to the position of adding more parts into the schedule, then you need the tool pockets to be able to supply that.
And this is where sister tooling comes in for me with the unmanned run. This is what a lot of the tool stations may be occupied by, isn't it?
Yes, we have a certain amount of sister tooling. Again, it depends on the materials that you're using. But yeah, you can have tool groups of however many tools you want of the same type.
How much do you think this has changed their business, Mark, since this machine has been here? You know, what's it done for them? What's the feedback that you've been given by the customer?
Well, to be fair, you know, this machine came in just at the beginning of the lockdown last year. And obviously, as we know, schedules were dropping. But this machine came in and it allowed them to carry on producing components at a time when maybe there weren't as many people around. But this machine really has come in and it has run 24/7.
Now, this is a big company, but these aren't the only companies, or they're not the only size of companies that you're putting these machines, are they? We're going into lots of places where you probably couldn't fit 2 of them. They could just fit 1, but it's still a better option for them than maybe several different spindles. Is that the big argument for you? Is look beyond the fact that this is a big company. These can go anywhere.
Yes, I mean this type of machine, you know, historically it's been the OEMs and the bigger subcontractors that have bought this type of machine. But in I'd say the last 6 months, most definitely in my area, we are attracting smaller companies, you know, maybe 1-2 man bands. You know, we've had 2 customers come to us recently that are less than 4 years old, and they've progressed to the point of buying this type of machine. But the real key to it is the fact that if you were looking at maybe having 2 single table 5-axis machines, you know, and a man to run that on a day shift, on a night shift, you know, you're still probably only getting 16 hours running out of it. But this machine will run 24/7, as we said from the start. If you can man this 4 hours a day for 24 hours production, that's the key to the success.
And that's all very well in the smaller companies that are newly established, but how do they go about affording something like this, Mark? Can Matsuura help them? You know, they might look at the price tag and think, okay, you're getting a lot for your money, but it's still a lot of money.
It is, yeah. Well, don't underestimate it. It is it's an expensive machine for sure, but the return on investment is massive. Yeah. If you have the work to fill this machine, as I say, compared to 2 single table machines, now you know a good quality single table machine, a pair of those is going to be the same price as this. but you don't need the man to stand in front of it all the time.
As one of your colleagues and you say, these are very much a vending machine for manufacturers.
It's a very hungry animal to feed.
Very hungry animal, but you can grow your business
Yes.
significantly by having
Yes,
a machine
the
like this.
return off of this type of machine is immense.